Shalom Yasha'Allah. It's Brother Mapathop, right? That'd be key, but in the ancient Paleo Hebrew. And there's gonna be a video dealing with our forefather, right? Apostle Paul, you understand? Who walked with the Lord, right? He's gonna sit upon thrones in the kingdom of heaven, right? Who's the rock of the church, who was ordained and preordained from the foundation of the earth to be the rock of the church, you understand? The head of the church of Yahushua, right? We're going to go into some things that you can learn from Apostle Paul when he walked the earth with Yahushua, you understand? And before we go into it, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua. That's all praise to the Most High God, whose name is Yahweh, and the name of his only begotten Son, who the world will ignorantly call Jesus Christ. But we know him as Yahushua in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, right? Yahushua, the righteous, our King, man, the King of Yasha'Allah, right? And we're gonna dive right into this thing in the book of Sirach, chapter 44. Right? So we're going to speak about our forefathers, man, right? Because we're supposed to learn from our forefathers, right? We're supposed to learn from the, let me bring that out first with the spirit. Let's go to Job 8, right? Bring this out through the spirit, right? And, so this is Job chapter 8 and verse 8, and it reads, "For inquire, I pray thee, of the former age, and prepare thyself to the search of their fathers." So we're supposed to acquire of the former age and prepare for the search of our forefathers, man. Right? We're supposed to read about our forefathers and learn the things. We're supposed to learn from the things that our forefathers went through, man. Right? Learn the things that they did that pleased the Lord. Learn the things that they did that displeased the Lord. Learn the things that they did that put them in a bad situation. Things that put them in a good situation, you understand? When we read the scriptures, we're supposed to actually apply these things to our life, man. Right? So when we read about the 12 apostles that walk with Yahushua, we should try to see what can we learn from them, you understand? Right? We know that the Apostle John, he loved Yahweh. He loved Yahushua. Right? We could learn from, just coming off the top of the head, a few examples. The Apostle Didymus, right? Apostle Thomas. We could learn that we're not supposed to acquire of a sign. We're supposed to believe without seeing. That's faith. That's Hebrews 11 and 1, right? Yet Didymus said, I won't believe unless I can touch his wounds, right? Just a few examples of how we're supposed to read these things and actually apply them to our life and actually learn from the things that we're reading, you understand? They're not stories, right? These are actually actual historical accounts, you understand, of our forefathers, and we have to learn from our forefathers, you understand? So, yeah, I wanted to, I'm going to read on in this. Matter of fact, that's all I wanted on that. I'm going to read it again. This is Job 8 and 8. It says, "For inquire, I pray thee, of the former age, and prepare thyself to the search of their fathers." So prepare yourself for the search of your fathers, right? And I really wanted to bring this out to the spirit. That's a good one too. Deuteronomy 32 and verse 7, and it reads, "Remember the days of old, consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee thy elders, and they will tell thee," man. So we have to learn from our elders. We have to learn from our forefathers, you understand? So I want to bring this out as well before we go into it. I want to bring this out in Sirach 44, right? So this is the book of Sirach, chapter 44 and verse 1, and it reads, "Let us now praise famous men and our fathers that begat us." Man, we're going to praise our forefathers, you understand, because they were mighty men of the Lord, you understand? So the Lord said, "Let us now praise famous men and our fathers that begat us." It says, "The Lord have wrought great glory by them through his great power from the beginning." You see that? And it says, "Such as did bear rule in their kingdoms," right? "Men renowned for their power and giving counsel by their understanding and declaring prophecies," right? And Peter was a great man. Like I said, he was the head of the church, right? It says, "Leaders of the people by their counsels and by their knowledge of learning, meet for the people, wise and eloquent in their instructions." And Peter gave a lot of wise and eloquent instruction, right? You can read about it in you can read about the things that Peter was teaching in Acts. You can read about it in 1st and 2nd Peter, you understand? And it says, "Such as found out," I want to jump to another point. I'm gonna jump to verse, this whole thing is good. I'm going to jump to verse 15. It says, "The people will tell of their wisdom, and the congregation will show forth their praise," right? So we're going to tell of the wisdom of our forefathers, right? And we're going to show forth our praise of our forefathers, man. Right? The Lord said, "Let us now praise famous men." And the 12 apostles are famous men in the congregation, you understand? Right? In the church, in the body of Yahushua. Right? So we're gonna praise them, and we're going to declare their wisdom. right? So this lesson is just going to be about Salakia. This lesson is going to be about things that we can learn from Peter, right? Mainly dealing with when he walked with Yahushua, right, throughout the Gospels, right? You can go into First and Second Peter and read more about and learn more about from Peter, man. But I'm gonna strictly and chiefly be dealing with the things that you read in the Gospels. You understand, right? So let's go into Matthew. Let's go to Matthew, and let's see the first thing that we can learn from Peter when he was first called by Yahushua, right? So this is the book of Matthew, Salakia, chapter 4 and verse 18, and it reads, "And Yahushua walking by the sea of Galilee saw two brethren, Simon called Peter, and Andrew his brother, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishers." So that's another thing about Peter. Peter was a fisher, man. Peter was just a regular man. Peter wasn't a Pharisee. He wasn't a doctor of the law. He wasn't a mighty man in the society. Peter was just a plain man, right? A fisher, right? So this is when Yahushua first came across Peter, right? He came across them with, it was Peter and Andrew. Andrew being Peter's brothers, Salaki. And it says, verse 19, "And he saith unto them, Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. And they straightway left their nets and followed him." So that's the first thing we can learn about Peter. Besides him being a fisher, he forsook everything. Once Yahushua said, "Follow me," he listened to him, man. Right? And the Lord said in St. John chapter 10 and verse 27, "My sheep shall hear my voice." And we know that Peter is one of the 12, man. Right? Peter is one of the elect. So once he heard the voice of Yahushua, he gave up everything and followed him, man. Right? And we're going to go more in depth into that in Luke 5. We could read a more in-depth account about the same account, right? And I'm gonna read Luke 5, and we're gonna read it from the top. It says, this Luke 5 and 1, it says, "And it came to pass that as the people pressed upon him to hear the word of the Most High, he stood by the lake of Gennesaret, right? And saw two ships standing by the lake, but the fishermen were gone out of them and were washing their nets," right? And it's speaking about Yahushua. And it says, "He entered into one of the ships, which was Simon's, and prayed him that he would thrust out a little from the land. And he sat down and taught the people out of the ship." Right? And it says, "Now when he had left speaking, he said unto Simon, Launch out into the deep and let down your nets for a draught." Right? "And Simon answering said unto him," and we're reading about Simon as Peter, right? Just to bring it out. It says, "And Simon answering said unto him, Master, we have toiled all the night and have taken nothing. Nevertheless, at thy word, I will let down the net." And that's a small point, but that's a point as well. Hey, man, he said, hey, we did all that we could and we couldn't get no fish, man. But he said, nevertheless, you told me to do it again, I'm going to do it again. So he heard Yahushua. He listened to Yahushua. He believed in Yahushua, man. Right? And it says, "And when they had done this," he could have been a stiff-necked Jake. "Man, I've been doing it all night. I'm not about to do that again. What are you talking about?" Right? But no, he said, nevertheless, hey, you told me to do it again, I'm going to do it again. Right? And let's see what happened. It says, verse 6, "And when they had done this, they enclosed a great multitude of fishes, and their net brake." Right? So when they did it again, when Yahushua told them to, they pulled in so many fishes that the net broke. Salakia. And it says, "And they beckoned unto their partners, which were in the other ship, that they should come and help them. And they came and filled both ships, so that they began to sink." So they end up bringing in so much fish that when they put it on the ship began to sink. Right? "When Simon Peter saw it, he fell down at Yahushua's knees," right? "Saying, Depart from me, for I am a sinful man, O Lord." So when Peter saw this miracle, he said, oh, whoa. Like he said, this is definitely the Son of God. He said, "Depart from me." He said, "I'm a sinful man." He was basically so humble that he felt like he was not worthy to be amongst the Son of God, to be amongst Yahushua. He said, "Depart from me, Lord. I'm a sinful man. Like, I'm not worthy to be around you, man." So our forefather was humble, man. He was lowly. You understand? Right? But he didn't understand that's who Yahushua came to call. Right? Yahushua came to call the foolish of this world. You understand? The sinners to repentance. And let's jump down in verse 32 and bring that out. So this is Luke 5 and verse 32, and it reads, red letter, "I came not to call the righteous, but sinners to repentance." That's plain. Right? So that's who Yahushua came to call. Yahushua came to call the sinners to repentance. Right? Not the righteous, those who were righteous in their own conceits. Right? Like the Pharisees and the scribes and the Sadducees. He didn't come to call the prideful Pharisees, because not all the Pharisees were wicked men. They were not all prideful. right? But he didn't come to call the ones that were wicked and prideful and righteous in their own conceits, man. He came to call the lowly, right? Those that were seen as nothing in the society, right? And let's go to that in 1 Corinthians. Salakia, 1 Corinthians 1:26. Right? So, hey man, Peter was willing to give up everything to serve the Lord. Peter was humble, right? He said, I'm not worthy to be amongst you, right? And Peter was also just a plain man. He was this is in society, they would say Peter was basically like the bottom of the barrel. Like Peter was like how they call us, a minority. Peter was just a fisher. He was a sinner, right? He wasn't really seen as nothing in the society. But in the eyes of the Lord, he was he was mighty enough to be the head of the church, man, in the eyes of the Lord, right? So the way this society sees men is not how the Lord sees men. You understand? Right? It's the same thing that happened with King David, right? The Lord kind of went past his brothers that were more mightier than him, right? On the physical level, right? King David was just a young man that took care of the sheep, man, a shepherd, right? He was the youngest of all the sons of Jesse, right? And yet the Lord chose him, right? Because the Lord said, I don't see as man seeth, man. He looking for upon the heart. So Peter must have a great heart for the Lord to ordain him to be the head of the church, right? So this is 1 Corinthians chapter 1 and verse 26, and it reads, I'm gonna start from 26. It says, for ye see your calling, brethren, how that many wise men after the flesh, not many mighty, not many noble. So like, let me read that again. It says, for ye see your calling, brethren, how that not many wise men after the flesh, not many mighty, not many noble are called. So not many of those that are noble and mighty and so-called mighty and seen as mighty in the society are called, right? It says, but the Most High have chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise. So Peter was seen as a foolish man. He was seen as an ignorant man of this world, right? Just a sinner, that just a nobody, man, in this society. But that's who the Most High God was calling. It says, but the Most High have chosen the foolish things of this world to confound the wise. And the Most High have chosen the weak things of this world to confound the things that are mighty. And the base things of the world and things which are despised have the Most High chosen, yet things which are not, to bring to naught things that are. But this is who the Most High God was dealing with, man. He was dealing with those that were seen as nothing in the society, right? In a modern day level, he's dealing with the brothers who used to smoke weed all day, who used to be a whoremonger, who used to shoot dice and be in all matters of folly and vanity and wickedness, man, right? But that's who the Most High God is ordaining in these last days to do His work, man, right? And to be in this ministry, right? So let's go to Acts 4. Right, just to further let me back on that point. So let's go to this Acts 4 and verse 13. And it reads, now when they saw the boldness of Peter and John and perceived that they were unlearned and ignorant men. So this is how Peter and John was looked at, right? Right now we're just chiefly dealing with Peter, right? So Peter was looked at as an unlearned and ignorant man. Let me read that again from the top. It says, now when they saw the boldness of Peter and John and perceived that they were unlearned and ignorant men, they marveled and they took knowledge of them that they had been with Yahushua, man. And they kind of looking like, man, these guys kind of bold. They bringing out the gospel of Yahushua, right? But they were perceived as being unlearned and ignorant men, right? But yet through the spirit of Yahushua, they spoke with boldness when it came to this gospel, man. You understand? So we looked at as niggas and thugs and whatever society call us, right? But in the eyes of the Lord ordained you because, hey, man, He sees something else in you that society can't see. You understand? Right? So let's go to Salakia. Let's go to Luke 12. So that's what we could learn from Peter. We could see that he was humble, right? He was Salakia, he was humble. He forsook everything to follow the Lord, right? But these things, different things we can learn from Peter, man. Right? Let's go to Luke 12, right? And this is another thing that we can learn from Peter is that he was a great student. You understand? Right? And this thing, you have to be a student, right? And you have to remember, as we're learning about things from Peter, we remember and keep in the back of your mind that Peter is the same one that was preordained from the foundation of the earth to be the head of the church and was given the keys of the kingdom of heaven. So you have to understand how important Peter is in the eyes of the Lord, right? So understand this. right? And Peter was a great student, right? And we're going to prove that. Let's go to Luke 12 and 39. So throughout the Gospels, you will see how Peter would constantly question Yahweh Shai, right? Not question him, but ask him questions, you understand? And try to gain more understanding, right? He was a great student, right? So this is the book of Luke, chapter 12 and verse 39, and it reads, "And know this, that if the good man of the house had known what hour the thief would come, he would have watched," right? And it says, "and not have suffered his house to be broken through. Be ye therefore ready also, for the Son of Man cometh at an hour when ye think not," right? And it's the point that I want, verse 41. It says, "Then Peter said unto him, Lord, speakest thou this parable unto us, right?" Speaking about the apostles, or even to all. So the only point I wanted from this is that, hey, Peter was asking a question, man. And that's heavy, man. Peter was asking a question as Yahweh Shai is teaching. Because when you read this thing, it's red letter throughout it, and then you just see black letter where Peter is like, "Hey, Lord, is this to all of us, or is it just to us, man?" Right? So Peter was constantly asking questions throughout the gospel. That's the only point I wanted from that. Right? So you have to seek out these things. When you read in the scriptures, you should be praying to the Lord. Lord, is this talking about this, or is this talking about that? Right? You should be constantly asking for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, trying to get the understandings of the things that you're reading. You understand? Trying to get the understanding of the word, because we understand that the word is Yahweh Shai. Right? So Peter wanted to understand these parables. Peter wanted to understand the Lord, man. You understand? So that's super deep. Right? So let's go to Matthew 18. Right? So you have to wanna know more, man, about this word. You should want to know really on a deeper level, man. You should be inquiring to know. You should want to really understand the whole Bible, because this is the words of God, man. Right? Who is the word? Yahweh Shai. Right? You should really want to understand this thing, man. Right? Salakia. So this is the book of Matthew, chapter 18 and verse 21, and it reads, "Then came Peter to him and said, Lord, how often shall my brother sin against me, and I forgive him? Till 7 times? So Peter literally, he really wanted to know this, man. He said, Lord, how often shall my brother sin against me? Till 7 times? This is a sincere question. He really wanted to know more, right? He wasn't just following Yahweh Shai and just listening. He was asking questions, man. He wanted to really understand what he was learning, man. You understand? And that's how you have to be in the spirit. You have to really inquire to know more. You have to really ask questions in this thing, right? You have to really pray unto the Lord, right? So let's go to another one. So we see this constantly throughout the Gospels, how Peter is asking questions, man. Right? So this is Matthew chapter 15 and verse 13, and it reads, "But he answered and said, Every plant which my heavenly Father have not planted shall be rooted up. And it says, Let them alone, they be blind leaders of the blind. And if the blind lead the blind, it says, both shall fall into the ditch. It says, Then answered Peter and said unto him, Declare unto us this parable." Right? So Peter, like, okay, he gave us the parable, but I don't really understand the parable. So he said unto Yahweh Shai, "Hey, Yahweh Shai, declare unto us this parable," man. He wanted the understanding thereof, man. That's mighty, man. Right? So when you reading things and you kind of come across something that you don't really understand, don't just read over it and just be like, man, I guess I'm not supposed to get it, man. Hey, pray unto the Lord that the Lord allow you to understand what you just read that you couldn't understand. Right? Ask a brother. Right? The Lord raised up different brothers to for the perfecting of the saints. That's Ephesians chapter 4 verse 20 on down, man. Right? Inquire. The Lord said, let me bring this up real fast. Shalakia. Let me bring this out real fast. In Proverbs 25 and verse 2. Right? This is Proverbs 25 and verse 2, and it reads, "It is the glory of the Most High God to conceal a thing, but the honor of kings is to search out a matter," man. So he was searching out these matters. Right? Yahweh Shai would declare a parable. He said, "Hey, Yahweh Shai, what is that parable talking about?" Right? He would ask Yahweh Shai a question. I need more understanding on this. What is this talking about? Right? Is this about us, or is this about everybody? He was really trying to get understanding. Right? And let's go to Mark chapter 13 from the top. Right? So this is something else we can learn from Peter, is to be a good student. Right? To be a good student in this thing. Right? So this is the book of Mark chapter 13 and verse 1, and it reads, Salaki, it reads, "And as he went out of the temple, one of his disciples saith unto him, Master, see what manner of stones and what buildings are here? Yahweh Shai answered and said unto him, Seest thou these great buildings? there shall not be left one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. Right, now check this out. It's the point. Verse 3. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives over against the temple, Peter and James and John, right? And these are the three pillars of the church. And we're going to go into that a little more a little later. Right? So it says Peter and James and John and Andrew as well. It says, asked him privately, tell us, what shall these things be? And what shall be the sign when all these things shall be fulfilled? So Peter and the other apostles as well, right? Peter, James, John, and Andrew, they inquired of the Lord to know, hey, when is these things going to come to pass? When you said the temple was going to be destroyed, when is this going to happen? He was asking questions, man. Salakia, right? He was asking questions, man. Right? Let's get another one. Let's go to Matthew chapter 19 and verse 27. Right? So you have to be a student in this thing. You have to inquire of the Lord. You have to want to know more about Yahushua. You have to want to know more about the Most High. Right? Because to know the Most High, you have to know Yahushua. Because Yahushua is this word. Right? So this is the book of Matthew chapter 29. So like Matthew chapter 19 and verse 27. Right? And this is a great question. It's a beautiful question. Right? It says, then answered Peter and said unto him, behold, we have forsaken all and followed thee. So Peter said, we gave up everything and followed you, Yahushua. Now check out this question. It says, what shall we have therefore? So this is another question that Peter asked Yahushua. He said, okay, we gave up everything and followed you, Yahushua. What shall we get in return? That's a question that he asked Yahushua, man. That's mighty, man. Right? He asked the Lord, hey, Lord, we gave up everything and followed you. What shall we get in return, man? That's what Peter asked Yahushua. Right? And Yahushua actually answered him gracefully, right? Verse 28, it says, and Yahushua said unto them, verily I say unto you, that ye which have followed me in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory, ye also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. Right? So that's another thing. I wanted to touch on that a little later. I'm going to bring it back out. Right? But, hey, Peter's going to sit upon 12 thrones in the kingdom of heaven, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. Right? In verse 29, it says, everyone that have forsaken houses or brethren or sisters or father or mother or wife or children or lands for my name's sake shall receive 100-fold and shall inherit everlasting life. So Yahushua answered him gratefully. He said, hey, you're going to receive 100-fold, man. You're going to inherit everlasting life. You're going to sit upon 12 thrones, man. Right? That's a beautiful thing. Right? So Peter asked him, hey, Lord, what do we get in return for leaving everything to serve you, man, and to follow you, man? Right? And that's a legit question. Let's go to John 21. Let's go to John 21. And let's get verse 18. Right? So this is John 21 and verse 18, and it reads, verily I say unto thee, and this is Yahushua speaking, it says, when thou was young, and he's speaking to Peter, thou girdest thyself and walkest whither thou wouldest. Right? So he's telling Peter, hey, when you were young, you could do whatever you wanted to do. You could go fishing. You could go preach the gospel. You basically had power over your own vessel to do whatever you wanted, right? But check this out. It says, but when thou shalt be old, thou shalt stretch forth thy hands, right? He's going to be crucified, right? That's what this is going into. It says, and another shall gird thee and carry thee whither thou wouldest not, meaning on a cross. And it says, this spake he, signifying by what death he should glorify the Most High. And when he had spoken this, he said unto him, follow me, right? But reading on. It says, then Peter turning about, seeth the disciple whom Yahushua loved following. So Peter turned around and see John following as well. And he said, which also leaned upon his breast at supper, right? It's speaking about John, this disciple John. It says, and said, Lord, which is he that betrayeth thee? It says, Peter seeing him saith to Yahushua, Lord, what shall this man do? So Peter is constantly, this is the only point I wanted from this account. Peter is constantly asking Yahushua questions. Peter was a great student. He said, hey, what's gonna happen to John, man? Right? So he just wanted to know. Peter just really wanted to know. Like, he wanted to know what was going on, man. Right? He said, I got the word of the Lord. I got Yahushua in the flesh walking amongst me. So I'm going to ask some questions, man. I'm going to be a great student. A great student asks many questions, right? A great student is going to constantly be trying to learn from their master, man. And who is our master? Yahushua, man. Right? So he was constantly searching out the truth, man. He constantly asked questions to Yahushua, man. Right? Which is a beautiful thing. And I'm gonna get this real fast in Hebrews. Because for you to be a teacher, you have to be a student. You have to be a great student at that. To be a great teacher, you have to be a great student first. You have to be a better student than you are a teacher, right? Right, so this is Hebrews chapter 5 and verse 12. And it reads, For when for the time you ought to be teachers, you have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracles of the Most High, and are become such as have need of milk and not of strong meat. That's plain. Right before you become a teacher, you have need that one teach you again. You have to be taught before you can be a teacher. So that's another thing we can learn from our mighty forefather, right? The head of the church, right? Peter, man, is that he was a great student. You understand, right? And I'm gonna keep trying to make this point. Remember, this is who the Most High God preordained to be the head of the church, right? And to sit upon 12 thrones, man, right? And these are different traits that we can learn from this same brother, man, right? This same our forefather, man, right? He was humble, right? He forsook everything and followed the Lord, right? He was a great student, man. You understand? These different things we can learn from him, right? And he was a plain man. You understand, right? And let's go to, got a couple precepts written down I wanted to go into. Let's go to Matthew chapter 14, right? So another thing we can learn from Peter is that Peter believed. Peter had faith in the Lord. He really believed in this thing, right? He really was rooted in this thing. You understand? He really had a beautiful amount of faith, man. He really believed in the Lord, right? And we're going to show that. Let's go to Matthew 14 and verse 25, right? And it reads, and in the fourth watch of the night, Yahushua went unto them walking on the sea, right? So you had Yahushua walking on the water. And it says that when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, "It is a spirit," and they cried out for fear, right? So the disciples were kind of fearful. It was like 3 to 5 o'clock in the morning, right? It said it was like the fourth watch of the night, right? So it was really dark. They're on the sea, right? The wind is going crazy, and they see Yahushua walking on the water. So they were fearful. They thought it was a spirit. And it said, but straightway Yahushua spake unto them, saying, "Be of good cheer, it is I, be not afraid." Right? Now check this out. And Peter answered him and said, "Lord, if it be thou, bid me come unto thee on the water." Right? So this is how much faith he had. He never walked on water in his life. Right? He understood that you can't really without the spirit of the Lord, you're not walking on no damn water. He knew this already, man. Right? But he said, the Lord, Yahushua can bid me to walk on that water, man. He believed that, man. The only way he could have possibly did that is through faith and belief, right? And it says, and Peter answered him and said, "Lord, if it be thou, bid me come unto thee on the water." And he said, "Come." And when Peter was come down out of the ship, he walked on water to go to Yahushua. So this is how much faith, right? How much faith he had in Yahushua. He said, "Man, this is the Son of the Most High, and I know if it be according to his will, he can allow me to walk on this water." That requires a lot of faith, man. Right? Yahushua can come down to a lot of brothers right now in the middle of the damn ocean and say, "Come unto me. Walk to me." A lot of brothers gonna look down and be like, "Man, hell no, man." Right? A lot of brothers gonna be like, "Man, I'm not stepping in that water, man." Right? But Peter believed. He said, "Man, I'm gonna walk on. If the Lord bid me to come, I know I can walk on that water, man." Right? That's mighty. That's a mighty act of faith. And it says, but when he saw the wind, I'm gonna read verse 29 again. It says, and he said, "Come." And when Peter was come down out of the ship, he walked on the water to go to Yahushua. But when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried, saying, "Lord, save me." And then he began to lack faith. He began to doubt. But the point is, he still had enough faith to even believe that he could even step his 2 feet on that water and begin to walk. Right? But the wind came, he began to get a little weary. Right? He began to wax faint. Right? And that's what caused him to sink, was his lack of faith. Right? And Yahushua going to bring it out. Right? Verse 31, it says, and immediately Yahushua stretched forth his hand and caught him and said unto him, "O thou of little faith, where didst thou doubt?" And Yahushua said, "Oh man, what caused you to doubt, man?" Because that's why he started to sink, because he doubted. Right? So, but you still have to understand, for him to even believe that he can step his 2 feet on that water and to even begin to walk on the water, that required a lot of faith in Yahushua to even believe that he can walk on that water in the first place, man. Right? Though he started to doubt afterward. Right? It's because our flesh is weak, man. Right? So he seen the wind, the water might have started going crazy, it's waves all around. He might have got a little wary and it caused him to sink. But the point is, he stepped his foot on that water and he believed that Yahushua could allow him to walk on that water, man. Because he really believed in the Lord, man. right? He really loved the Lord, man, right? He really believed in this thing. He wholeheartedly believed in this thing, man. Let's go to Matthew 16 and 13. Salaki. And it reads, this Matthew 16 and 13, it says, when Yahushua came unto him, Salaki, it says, when Yahushua came unto the coast of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, saying, whom do men say that I, the Son of Man, am? Right? So Yahushua come into the disciples and asked them, who do everybody think that I am, man? Right? Because our forefathers understood regeneration. You understand? They understood that he could have been one of the prophets regenerated back on the earth, man. That's why he asked them these things. Verse 14, it says, and they said, some say that thou art John the Baptist. So some thought Yahushua was John the Baptist back on the earth. Right? And it says, Salaki, it says, some say Elijah. Right? So some people thought Elijah was, Yahushua was Elijah back on the earth. And it says, and others Jeremiah or one of the prophets. And some thought he was Jeremiah. Right? They said, or one of the prophets. They just believe you got to be one of the prophets. Right? And it says, and he saith unto them, but whom say ye that I am? Right? And Simon Peter answered and said, thou art Yahushua, the Son of the living God, man. Right? And Peter believed. He said, man, I know who you are, man. You're the anointed. You're Yahushua, the Son of the living God, man. Right? I know you're not Jeremiah. I know you're not Elijah. You're Yahushua. You're the one that was, you're the only begotten Son. He believed that, man. He knew it. Right? He knew that he was the Messiah. Right? Salaki, and verse 17, it says, and Yahushua answered and said unto him, and this is a heavy point as well. It says, blessed art thou, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood have not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven. So Yahushua told him, and he said, that's how you know the Most High God really was dealing with Peter, and the Most High God really preordained Peter from the foundation of the earth. Right? The Most High God loved Peter's spirit. Right? He was preordained by the Most High God. Don't just look at it on a level of this is Yahushua's right hand man. Yahushua came and chose him. Hey, he was preordained by the Most High God to even have this lot. You have to understand this, right? So Peter had a spirit that the Most High God loved, man. You have to understand this, man. And that's what Yahushua was telling him. He said, whoa, he said, I'm gonna read it again. It says, verse 17, Yahushua answered and said unto him, blessed art thou, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood have not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven. He said, man, you're blessed. He said, because my Father had to tell you that, man. Nobody on this earth could have revealed that unto you. My Father revealed that unto you, man. Right? And it says, and I say also unto thee that thou art Peter, right? And upon this rock I will build my church, right? Peter was the rock of the church, meaning he was the head of the church, right? It says, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it, right? And it says, and I will give unto thee the keys of the kingdom of heaven. So Peter had to, I'm gonna read on, right? Yahushua broke it down, right? It says, so I'm gonna read it again from the top, verse 19. It says, and I will give unto thee the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatsoever thou shalt bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. Meaning, whosoever that Peter gave the truth, they would be bound in heaven, man. They would get the kingdom. You understand? He had the power to baptize those certain people in the name of Yahushua, right? And sanctify them, right? And seal them with the Holy Spirit, right? And it says, and whatsoever thou shalt loose on earth shall be loose in heaven. And he had the power to condemn people, man, right? And to make sure certain brothers don't be a part of the and see salvation, I should say, right? Like how he did to Ananias, right? I believe his name was Ananias in Acts 5. Right, and the one who tried to hold out on the Lord. Let me see if I can find his name. I don't want to butcher it. His name was Ananias. Ananias and his wife, they start holding out their money from the Lord, right? Roughly paraphrasing. I don't really want to go into the account. And they were put to death, man. They were condemned, right? But the point I wanted from this is that this is how much Simon Peter believed. He said, man, I know you're the Son of God, man. He believed that. You understand? And it was revealed unto him by the Father, man. Right? And Peter is the rock of the church. Right? And let's go to Galatians. Salaki, let's go to Matthew 17. Oh, Khan. Let's go to Matthew 17. Let's bring this up. So this is the book of Matthew chapter 17 and verse 1, and it reads, after 6 days, Yahushua taken Peter, James, and John, his brothers. So a lot of times you will read that Yahushua will only take certain apostles, right? And usually it's always Peter, James, and John. It's because they're the head of the church, right? And it says, and bringing them up into an high mountain apart, and was transfigured before them, and his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as the light. You see that? So he allowed them to see this transfiguration, right? And it says, and behold, there appeared unto them Moses and Elijah talking with them. And then answered Peter and said unto Yahushua, Lord, it is good for us to be here. If thou wilt, let us make here 3 tabernacles, one for thee, one for Moses, and one for Elijah. Right? Now check this out. This is verse 5. It says, while he yet spake, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them, and behold, a voice. So you see, this is a chariot that overshadowed Peter. Right? And it says, and behold, a voice out of the cloud which said, this is my beloved son, in whom I am well pleased. Hear ye him. Right? So Peter was talking about making a tabernacle for Elijah and Moses and Yahushua. Right? But the Most High God had to show him and make it plain. He said, this is my beloved son, right? Whom I am well pleased. Hear ye him. So he said, hey, just worry about what Yahushua is teaching you, man. Right? Yahushua supersedes. So like I'm probably using the wrong word, but Yahushua comes before, right? Yahushua's ministry is better than that of Moses. Right? You can read about that in Hebrew, right? And it's better than that of Elijah, man. So he said, this is my beloved son, hear ye him, man. Right? Just worry about Yahushua, right? So he had to understand this to be the head of the church, man. This is something that he had to understand, right? So I just wanted to bring that out to show that certain things were only revealed to certain apostles. And Peter was part of it, right? Because Peter was the head of the church. So Yahushua allowed him to see certain things. You understand? So let's go to John 21. Matter of fact, let's go to Matthew 26. Right? Matthew 26. And verse 31. Right? And it reads, then saith Yahushua unto them, all ye shall be offended because of me this night. For it is written, I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock shall be scattered abroad. Right? And it says, but after I am risen again, I will go before thee into Galilee. Peter answered and said unto him, though all men shall be offended because of thee, yet will I never be offended, man. That's how much Peter had faith in the Lord, and he loved the Lord, man. He said, man, everybody might be offended because of you, but I'm never going to be offended because of you, man. That was his spirit speaking. That's how he felt in the spirit, right? We understand when we read on in the account that he ended up denying Yahushua 3 times, right? And Yahushua told him that. We're going to read about it. But you have to understand, his flesh was weak, but his spirit, in the spirit, he said he really wanted to die for the Lord, right? And really, when you go into the history, Peter actually did get crucified upside down, right? Because he didn't want to die the same way as the Lord. So understand when we read these accounts that Peter still ended up being a martyr for the Lord, right? His flesh was just weak at this time, right? And it says, verse 34, it says, I'm going to read verse 33 again. It says, Peter answered and said unto him, though all men shall be offended because of thee, yet will I never be offended, man. He said, I will never be offended because of you, Lord. Man, he loved the Lord, man. He really believed in the Lord, right? He said, verse 34, Yahushua said unto him, verily I say unto thee, that this night before the cock crow, thou shalt deny me thrice. But Yahushua said, hold on, man. Right? Watch what you're saying, because you're going to deny me 3 times. And another lesson we could get from this is to watch what you say in this thing, man. Right? Watch what you say. Right? Remember to always say, Lord willing. Right? Lord willing, I will die for the Lord. Right? Lord willing, when that time come, I will be strong enough to endure this thing. Right? You understand? It's always Lord willing, man. Don't be too overconfident. Right? And to me, it's to me, this is when I read about what Peter said, it's positive in my eyes, the way I perceive it, right? Because I feel like through the Spirit, he really felt like that. He really was ready to die for the Lord. He really would never be offended in the Lord, but his flesh was overtaken. You understand? And that's why when you read on down in verse 41, it actually tells you, Yahushua tells you to watch and pray, because the spirit is willing. The spirit is indeed willing, but the flesh is weak. You understand? So I really believe in the spirit that Peter was willing, right? When he said this, he meant it in the spirit, but his flesh became weak in that time, right? On verse 35, it says, Peter said unto him, though I should die with thee, yet will I not deny thee. Likewise said all the disciples. So he said, man, I will die with you before I deny you, man. And I feel like he believed that in the spirit, right? He really believed in the Lord. And in the spirit, he really wanted to be strong enough to die die for the Lord in that day, and to be strong enough to die with the Lord that day. But on a deeper level, it just wasn't his lot to do that, because the Lord had a lot of work lined up for him to do. So he couldn't. It wasn't meant for him to die that day, man. Right? But the lessons you can learn from that is, hey, he had a lot of faith in the Lord, man. He really wanted to die for the Lord. He wanted to never be offended in the Lord. You understand? Right? Another lesson you can learn from that is to watch what you say, man. Right? Because you're going to be judged for every idle word, man. Right? So remember, when you say things, it's always Lord willing. Even if you say, I will meet you on this corner, brother. You got to be Lord willing, man, because you don't know, man. Right? So Peter should have been better off saying, man, if it's the Lord's will, I would die. I'm gonna die with you, man. Right? And I will never be ashamed of you. Right? So you got to watch what you say, man. Right? But Peter was that's a mighty account of faith, right? Because Peter really loved the Lord, and we're gonna bring that out in John 21. Right? This is a beautiful account too, man. Right? And when I read about Peter, I don't know the right words to use, right? But it always uplifts my spirit to read about Peter, man. I love to read about Peter, man. I love Peter, man. Right? I love the Apostle Peter. Right? So this is St. John chapter 21 and verse 4, and it reads, when the morning was now come, Yahushua stood on the shore, but the disciple knew not that it was Yahushua. Right? So Yahushua appeared unto them in another form. Right? As another man. So the disciples, they didn't know him. They didn't know that this man that they were seeing was Yahushua. Verse 5, it says, then Yahushua said unto them, children, have ye any meat? They answered him, no. And he said unto them, cast the net on the right side of the ship, and ye shall find. Right? They cast therefore, and now they were not able to draw it for the multitude of fishes. Right? But this is the point I want from it, verse 7. Right? Because this whole thing has a deep spiritual meaning, but I'm just going to deal with verse 7. And it says, therefore the disciple whom Yahushua loved said unto Peter, it is the Lord. Right? So it's this through the Spirit. John, he knew through the Spirit, hey, that's the Lord right there. Right? Even though he didn't have the same physical appearance, he knew through the Spirit. He said, oh, that's Yahushua. Right? Now check this out though. It says, I'm going to read that again. It says, therefore the disciple whom Yahushua loved said unto Peter, it is the Lord. Now when Simon Peter heard that it was the Lord, he girt his fisher's coat unto him, for he was naked, and did cast himself into the sea. He said, well, word, that's the Lord. He dived right into the sea and started swimming. Hey, man, he loved the Lord, man. Peter loved the Lord. This is a beautiful account. Right? Everybody else, when you read on, you will see everybody else kind of just waited till the ship got to him. Peter said, word, that's the Lord. He dived in the water, man. He started swimming to the Lord. Right? And it says, and the other disciples came in a little ship, for they were not far from land, but as it were 200 cubits, dragging the net with fishes. So everybody else, they waited till the ship got to him. But he dived in that water and said, oh, word, man, that's Yahushua. He dived in there, man. Right? He said, I got to get to the Lord, man. Right? It's a beautiful account. Let's go to John 20. And we're going to start from the top. Right? So we can see there's something else we can learn from Peter, how much he loved the Lord. Right? How much he loved the Lord. Right? This is the spirit that the Most High God gave him. This is the spirit that the Most High God gave the man that was preordained to be the head of the church. Right? And to have the keys of the kingdom of heaven. Right? He loved the Lord, man. He really had a deep love for the Lord, man. Right? And that's why when you read about him after he denied Yahushua, we're gonna get it. Right? But after he denied Yahushua 3 times, and he cried bitterly, man, because he really loved the Lord. He was upset with his flesh, man. Right? He was upset with himself that he wasn't strong enough to die for the Lord, man. Right? That he became so weak in the flesh that he denied the Lord, man. Right? He was upset with himself. You understand? Because he really loved the Lord, man. Right? So this is John to the 20 and verse 1, and it reads, the first day of the week cometh Mary Magdalene early, when it was yet dark, unto the sepulchre, and seeth the stone taken away from the sepulchre. So this after Yahushua was risen up after 3 days and 3 nights. It says, then she runneth and cometh to Simon Peter, and Mary was on fire too, man. She kind of started taking off, man, and came into Peter and to the other disciple whom Yahushua loved, speaking about John. And it says, it saith unto them, they have taken away the Lord out of the sepulchres, and we know not where they have laid him. Right? So she was sorrowful in the spirit. She's like, man, I don't know where the Lord is. I don't know what they did with the Lord's body. And it says, Peter therefore went forth, and that other disciple, and came to the sepulchre. So they both ran together. They said, what? They started taking off, man. Right? They started running to that sepulchre, man. Right? And it says, and the other disciple did outrun Peter. So John outran Peter. Right? So John kind of get in there. He said, hold on. Right? And man's going to is that the Lord, right? And it's super deep when you read it in the spirit, right? I was kind of watching the brother Naquam kind of go into it, and it's super deep when you actually read it in the spirit, right? Because man's goings is of the Lord. So he was preordained to outrun Peter, man. Right? He was preordained to see what happened first. He was preordained to get there first. You understand? Right? You will see how the different apostles had different lots. Right? And it says, and did outrun Peter and first come to the sepulchre. Right? And he stooping down and looking in saw the linen clothes lying, yet he went not in. So, and everything, everything is written for a reason, man. Right? So we have to pay close attention to the things that we're reading. Right? And in the school system, they would call it proofreading. Right? To really pay attention to the things that you're reading. Right? So, it says John, he got there first, but John didn't go into the sepulchre. Now check this out. So just like when we read about, John understood when Yahushua appeared in that different form, he was the first one to say, "Oh, that's Yahushua." He told Peter, he said, "That's Yahushua." But what did Peter do? Peter dove in that water and said, "Oh, I'm gonna get to him, man." He got in there, right? He was bold, right? Now check this out. It's kind of the same thing playing out, but on a different context, on a different level, right? So John got there first. Now check this out. It says, "Yeah, he went not in." So John got there first, but he wasn't bold enough to go into the sepulchre. Now check this out. It says, "Then cometh Simon Peter following him, and went into the sepulchre, and seeth the linen clothes lie, right, and the napkin that was about his head not lying with the linen clothes, but wrapped together in a place by itself." Right? Then went in also the other disciple, which came first to the sepulchre, and he saw and believed. Right? So the point is, hey, Peter was bold. Peter loved the Lord so much, man. Right? He didn't beat John in the race, but hey, when he got there, he was the first one who went head first into that sepulchre and went to go see what was going on, man. Right? He went right in there, man. What's going on, man? Right? Where's the body of the Lord? Right? What is going on? Right? Because he really loved the Lord, man. Right? Let's go to Acts 4. Right, which is another beautiful account, right? And I wasn't gonna really go too far out of the Gospels, but I had to bring this out through the Spirit, right? So this is the book of Acts chapter 4 and verse 1, and it reads, "And as they spake unto the people, the priests and the captain of the temple and the Sadducees came upon them, being grieved that they taught the people and preached through Yahushua the resurrection from the dead," right? And it's speaking about Peter and John, right? These different Pharisees. Right, these different Jews, they were upset at the fact, and the Sadducees, Salakia, and it says they were upset at the fact that Peter and John was teaching Yahushua in the resurrection, and it says, "And they laid hands on them and put them in hold until the next day, for it is now eventide." Right, so they kind of locked them up, man. They laid hands on them, right? And I'm gonna jump to verse 18. And it says, "And they called them and commanded them not to speak at all, nor teach in the name of Yahushua." So they grabbed them up. Right? And then they let him loose and said, "Hey, y'all better not ever speak again about Yahushua, man." Right, now check this out. "But Peter and John answered and said unto them, Whether it be right in the sight of the Most High to hearken unto you more than unto the Most High, judge ye." He said, so if you think it's going to be better for us to hearken unto you instead of the Most High, you be the judge of that, man. Right? It says, "For we cannot but speak the things which we have seen and heard." So basically he's saying, man, we ain't going to do nothing but continue to speak about the gospel, man. Speak about the resurrection of Yahushua. Right? It says, "So when they had further threatened them, they let them go, finding nothing how they might punish them because of the people, for all men glorified the Most High God for that which was done." So they said, man, we're going to continue to speak about Yahushua, man. We don't care what y'all talking about, man. Right? Let's go to John 18. Real fast. I want to get this verse in Acts 5. Let's go to the next chapter. Right? And it's Acts chapter 5, and I'm going to start from verse 26, and it reads, it says, "Then when the captain with the officers and brought them without violence, for they feared the people, lest they should have been stoned." Right? So this is going into after the apostles were locked up again. Right? And then they got released by the angel of the Lord, and then they came and grabbed them up again. Right? And it says, "And when they had brought them, they set them before the council, and the high priest asked them, saying, Did not we straitly command you that you should not teach in his name? And behold, you have filled Jerusalem with your doctrine, and intend to bring this man's blood upon us." Right? Now check this out. It says, "Then Peter and the other apostles answered and said, We ought to obey God rather than men." Man, they said we gonna obey the Most High God rather than men, man. We don't give a damn how many times y'all tell us to stop preaching the name of Yahushua. We're gonna continue to do it, right? Because they loved the Lord and they believed. Right? And I'm gonna jump to verse 40. And it says, "And to him they agreed, and when they had called the apostles, they beaten them." Right? So they got beaten. "They commanded that they should not speak in the name of Yahushua, and let them go. right? And they departed from the presence of the council, rejoicing that they were counted worthy to suffer shame for his name. So our forefathers were mighty, right? And Peter was part of this, man, right? So they rejoiced at the fact that they were beaten for the name of Yahushua, man. They rejoiced at the fact that they were beaten for the gospel, man. That's something else that we can learn from Peter, right? And chiefly all the apostles, but the video we just dealing with Peter, right? So that's something else we can learn from Peter, is that we have to rejoice in tribulation, right? And we have to rejoice in the time where the saints in the men of the Lord are persecuted, man, right? For righteousness' sake. And it says, now check this out. Verse 42, and daily in the temple and in every house they cease not to preach, to teach and preach Yahushua, man, right? And even when they got released again, they were told to, y'all better stop preaching in that name. When they got released again, they rejoiced in it, and they went to go continue to preach the name of Yahushua, man. So nothing was going to stop them from proclaiming the name of the Lord. Nothing was going to stop them from teaching his gospel, man, right? So this is just dealing with something else that we can learn from Peter, is that he loved Yahushua, right? Let's get another one. Right? So it's 18, this is John chapter 18 and verse 1, right? And this is another beautiful account. It says, and when Yahushua had spoken these words, he went forth with his disciples over the brook Cedron, where was a garden until which he entered in his disciples. And Judas also, which betrayed him, knew the place, for Yahushua oftentimes resorted thither with his disciples. Judas then, having received a band of men and officers from the chief priests and Pharisees, coming thither with lanterns and torches and weapons. Right, so this is going into the account where Judas betrayed the Lord, and he brought all these different Pharisees, chief priests, and scribes, and Sadducees, all these wicked Jews to come and persecute the Lord. Right, and it says, Salakia, not the just the Pharisees, right? And it says, where was I at? Salakia, verse 4. I'm gonna jump down, right? I'm gonna jump down to verse 6, and it says, I'm gonna jump down to verse 7. Then asked he them again, whom seek ye? And they said, Yahushua of Nazareth. Yahushua answered, I have told you that I am he. If therefore ye seek me, let these go their way. So Yahushua said, I told you, I'm Yahushua. If you just seeking me, let my apostles go their way, man. Let my disciples go their way. It says that the saying might be fulfilled which he spake of them, which thou gavest me, I have lost none. Right, and it's the point. Then Simon Peter, having a sword, drew it and smote the high priest's servant, and cut off his right ear. The servant's name was Malchus. So this is how much Peter loved the Lord. He said, man, I came with all these weapons to try to put your hand on the Lord. Hey, I'm going to defend the Lord, man. Right? If the Lord not going to back out the sword and defend himself, I'm going to defend my king, man. Right? Because he loved the Lord, man. Right? This is different things we can learn about Peter, man. Right? Peter was willing to die. Hey, even though Peter denied the Lord, right? Hey, Peter really was willing in the spirit to die for the Lord, man. Right? Peter could have got killed that night, man. Right? Peter backed out his sword and he chopped off somebody's ear, man. He said, hey, y'all not going to just touch the Lord, man. Right? It says, then said Yahushua unto Peter, put up thy sword into the sheath. The cup which my father hath given me, shall I not drink it? Right? So Yahushua told Peter to kind of chill, man. Right? But the point is, Peter backed out the sword, man. And he was ready to defend the Lord's honor, man. He was ready to lay down somebody's life for the Lord, man. You understand? Because he really loved the Lord. Right? Let's go to John 6, right? In verse number 50, let's bring this out. This is one of my favorite accounts. It's John 6 and 59. It says, these things said he in the synagogue as he taught in Capernaum, right? So I don't want to go into the whole chapter, but this chapter is, in this context, is dealing with Yahushua was teaching about the teaching in John 6 about how you have to eat of his blood. I mean, you have to eat of his flesh and drink of his blood, when he was really talking about you have to eat up his word, because Yahushua is the word in the flesh, right? But a lot of the disciples, they didn't understand this teaching, right? And they were offended by it, right? But we're going to read it. So verse 60, it says, many therefore of his disciples, when they had heard this, said, this is an hard saying, who can hear it? So a lot of people heard it. They said, wait, that's a hard teaching. I don't really understand what's going on. And it says, and when Yahushua knew in himself that his disciples murmured at it, he said unto them, do if this offend you? What and if you shall see the Son of Man ascend up where he was before? It said, it is the spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profiteth nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. So that's all he was really teaching, is that you have to eat up this word, right? Because this word is spirit, this word is life. It says, verse 64, but there are some of you that believe not. For Yahushua knew from the beginning whom they were that believed not, and who should betray him. And he said, therefore I said unto you, that no man come unto me except it were given unto him by, of my Father. Right? So like I was going into earlier, that makes a good point as well about what I was saying earlier about how Peter Peter was already preordained. Like, don't just look at Peter like that's just Yahushai's friend. Yahushai came and picked him. He was already preordained from the foundation of the earth. And Yahushai said it here. I'm going to read that again. John 6:65. And it says, and he said, therefore I said unto you, that no man can come unto me except it were given unto him of my Father. Right? So Peter couldn't even come unto Yahushai except it was given unto him by the Most High God Yahweh. Right? So it says, from that time, many of his disciples went back and walked no more with him. Right? So a lot of people were offended in that teaching because they didn't understand it. It says, then said Yahushai unto the 12, will ye also go away? Now check this out. Then Simon Peter answered him. So Simon Peter took the initiative to answer for everybody, man. Right? Because he was bold like that, man. Right? And he loved the Lord like that, man. He had the faith like that. Right? And it says, then Simon Peter answered him, Lord, to whom shall we go? Thou hast the words of eternal life. And we believe in our sure that thou art Yahushai, the Son of the living God. Right? That's plain, man. Peter said, hey, we believe. We ain't going to go nowhere, man. Why? Because we believe and we're sure that thou art the Son of God, man. Right? Thou art Yahushai, the Son of the living power, man. Right? We believe that and we're sure of that, man. He didn't just say we only believe that. He said we're sure, man. Meaning it's no doubt in our mind that you're the Messiah, man. And that you're the King of Israel, man. Right? He believed that he was sure of that, man. Right? This is Peter, man. Right? Let's go to Matthew 16. Right? So Peter really loved the Lord. He really believed in this thing, man. Right? He cherished this thing. Right? So this is Matthew 16 in verse number 21. And it reads, and from that time forth began Yahushai to show unto his disciples how that he must go into Jerusalem and suffer many things of the elders and chief priests and scribes and be killed and be raised again the third day. Now check this out. It says, then Peter took him. Right? So this is Yahushai telling the apostles about how he gotta be put to death eventually, man. He gotta die for the sins of the nation. Right now check this out. Then Peter took him and began to rebuke him. Right? So Peter kind of grabbed the Lord up and rebuked him and said, it says, saying, be it far from thee, Lord, this shall not be unto thee. He said, hey, he kind of grabbed the Lord up. He took him, man. Right? He rebuked the Lord and said, hey, this not gonna happen. This can't happen to you, Lord. Right? You can't just be killed, man. And it's not because Peter was wicked, right? Peter was going contrary to the will of the Father, so he was going off. Right? That's why the Lord called him Satan when you read on. But when you really read it, when you really reading it in the spirit, and you really trying to put this thing together, hey, he really loved the Lord. He didn't want the Lord to have to be put to death. He didn't want the Lord to have to be killed. You understand? It's because he really loved them. But that was him being carnal. You understand? He wasn't really thinking on the spiritual level that, hey, this is his lot, man. This is the will of the Father, right? He has to die for the nation. He wasn't thinking like that, man. He became a little carnal. You understand? Right? So verse 23, it says, but he turned and said unto Peter, get thee behind me, Satan. So, right, so that's why Yahushua called him Satan, because he was going against the will of the Father. Right? Peter is telling Yahushua, you don't have to fulfill the will of the Father. So that's why he called him Satan. It's not because Peter was just a wicked nigga. Right? Peter was saying that because he loved the Lord. He didn't want the Lord to have to be killed. But he didn't understand that he was being carnally minded, man. He wasn't being in the spirit. Right? Because he was teaching contrary to the will of the Father. It says, get thee behind me, Satan, thou art an offense to me, for thou savorest not the things that be of the Most High, but those that be of men. So he said, hey, you're being carnal, man. Right? You're not thinking about the will of the Father. Now you're being carnal. You understand? Right? But I still bring that out to show how much Peter loved the Lord. Yahushua is teaching that he had to be killed and delivered up by the scribes and the Pharisees. Peter like, what the hell? Like, I don't want to see you die, man. You don't have to be killed. Right? It was all out of love, but at the same time, he was being carnally minded. He was going off. Right? So he was definitely going off, but it was really out of love, really, though, when you really think about it. Right? So let's go to Matthew. Let's go back to Matthew 26. So I said I was going to touch back on this account, right? And I'm gonna start from 56, right? Yeah, I'm gonna just get this first, right? And it says, but all this was done that the scriptures of the prophets might be fulfilled. Then all disciples forsook him and fled, right? And this is when Yahushua is being grabbed up after he was betrayed by Judas. And it says, and they had laid hold on Yahushua they that had laid hold on Yahushua led him away to Caiaphas the high priest, where the scribes and the elders were assembled. Now check this out. But Peter, right? It doesn't say that the apostles. It doesn't say Peter, James, and John, right? It doesn't say Peter and John. It says, but Peter followed him afar off into the high priest's palace and went in and sat with the servants to see the end, man. Right? So Peter followed behind the Lord. They grabbed the Lord up. Peter didn't run off like everybody else. Peter kind of crept up behind him like, what is they doing with my king, man? Hey, man, he loved the Lord, man. Right? So this is still going into something else we can learn from Peter, right? Is that he loved Yahushua so much that he crept up behind him and said, man, I got to see what they doing with the Lord, man. I can't just run off, man. I can't just be scattered. Man, I have to see what they're doing with my king, man. Right? And it was all out of love, man. Right? Peter was really a mighty brother, man. Right? Peter was a mighty brother. Don't read the fact that Peter denied the Lord thrice and be like, oh yeah, Peter was weak, right? Peter is off. You understand? Right? You have to understand, hey, we're all in these carnal bodies, but you have to really read these things in the spirit and understand where Peter's spirit was at. Peter loved the Lord, man. You understand? Peter really loved the Lord, man. Right? Peter had a great spirit. Right? But the flesh is weak. Right? So I want to go back in here and let's go to verse 31. I want to go back to the account that we were speaking about at the beginning. Right? About him denying the Lord, right? So this is Matthew 26 and verse 31. It says, "This saith Yahushua unto them, all ye shall be offended because of me this night, for it is written, I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock shall be scattered abroad. But after I am risen again, I will go before you into Galilee. Peter answered and said unto him, though all men shall be offended because of thee, yet will I never be offended." Right? So in the spirit, like I was saying earlier, he wanted to never be offended in the Lord, man. He wanted to be willing to die for the Lord. It says, Yahushua said unto him, verily I say unto thee that this night before the cock crow, thou shalt deny me thrice. Peter said unto him, though I should die with thee, yet will I not deny thee. Likewise also say his disciples. Right? Now check this out. I'm going to jump down to verse 41. Right? And this is right after this same account. Right? It says, and right, I'm going to read it. Right? It says, and it's red letter. It says, watch and pray that you enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. So Yahushua is telling them this. He said, hey, the spirit is willing. This is right after Peter said what he said. He said the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Right? So that's why I say Peter wasn't weak because he denied the Lord. Because I believe through the spirit that his spirit was indeed willing. He was in the spirit. He was ready. He wanted to die for the Lord, but his flesh was weak. And that's why the Lord was telling them to stay awake, right? Watch and pray, because the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. That's why the Lord was constantly telling them this. Because Yahushua understood, hey, your spirit may be willing to do certain things, but your flesh is weak, man. So continue to pray. That's what Yahushua was telling them, right? So let's jump to verse 69, right? And it reads, now Peter sat without in the palace, and a damsel came unto him, saying, thou also was with the Yahushua of Galilee. But he denied before them all, saying, I know not what thou sayest. Right? And when he was going out into the porch, another maid, so he denied, that's one time he denied the Lord. Right? So it says, another maid saw him and said unto them that were there, this fellow was also with Yahushua of Nazareth. Right? So that's just, and I'm reading on. It says, and again he denied with an oath, I do not know the man. So he denied him a second time. He said, I don't know him, man. Right? So, hey, you got to watch what you say in this thing, man. Right? Hey, everything is Lord willing. Lord willing, I would do this. Lord willing, I would do that. You understand? Right? And it says, and after a while came unto him they that stood by and said to Peter, surely thou also art one of them, for thy speech bewrayeth thee. Right? So another one came and said, man, you talking just like him, man. You have to be one of those, man. You have to be one of his disciples. You talk just like him. Right? And it says, then began he to curse and to swear, saying, I know not the man. And immediately the cock crew. So he denied him 3 times, and then the cock crew. The cock crew, just like Yahushua prophesied. Verse 75. It says, and Peter remembered the words of Yahushua, which said unto him, before the cock crow, thou shalt deny me thrice. And he went out and wept bitterly, man. Right? So you have to understand the flesh is weak. And that's why you have to watch what you say and understand everything is in the power of the Lord. Right? So that's another thing we can learn from Peter, is that we have to watch what we say. Because our spirit might be indeed willing to do something. Hey, but the flesh is weak, man. right? So you have to constantly watch and pray like the Yahweh Shai was telling them to do, man. Right? And let's go to Matthew 19, right? And at the end of the day, Peter is going to sit upon 12 thrones. You understand? We read it already, but I'm going to bring it back out. Right? Peter is going to be here with Yahweh Shai, right? He's going to inherit the same things Yahweh Shai inherited in the kingdom of heaven, because he's one of the elect. He's above the elect, right? He's the top. He's going to be sitting upon 12 thrones with the 12 apostles, right under Yahweh Shai, right? So this is Matthew chapter 19 and verse 28 again. It says, and Yahweh Shai said unto them, verily I say unto you, that ye which have followed me in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall, Salakia, when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory, ye also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel, man. So the 12 apostles going to sit upon 12 thrones, man, right? And Peter is the chief apostle, man, right? Peter is the rock of the church. He's the head of all the apostles. He's the head of the church of Yahweh Shai, man, right? You have to understand that, right? So Peter is going to sit upon 12 thrones in the kingdom of heaven. That's why it's important to study our forefathers, study the apostles, man, right? Learn about the apostles, man, right? When you read the Gospels, we're learning about Yahweh Shai, but also understand and pay attention to the things that it say about our the 12 apostles, man, right? Because they were the first besides Yahweh Shai, they were the first 12. They were the first 12 spirits created by the Most High God, man. So the Most High God really seen something in their spirit. The Lord really imputed some things into their spirit that other men just don't have, man. Right? The Lord loved these spirits, man. Right? Like Yahweh Shai said, those that came unto me were ordained by the Father, roughly paraphrasing. You understand? So the Most High God preordained the 12 apostles to even be sitting upon those 12 thrones from the foundation of the earth, man. So these are mighty men as well. You understand? So when we read the gospel, we have to really pay attention to the things about our forefathers, man. Right? The apostles as well. Right? That's the point I'm trying to make. Pay attention to the things that you're reading about the apostles as well, man. Right? Because they're not just niggas that walk the earth with Yahweh Shai. Right? They were preordained from the foundation of the earth to walk the earth with Yahweh Shai, man. They were preordained from the foundation of the earth to walk with Yahweh Shai, to be called by Yahweh Shai. Right? To be right up under Yahweh Shai and learn personally from Yahweh Shai, man. Right? That's serious, man. Right? So I'm gonna go to Romans 8 and I'm gonna close out. And I'm gonna get two more precepts. Right? So this is Romans 8 and verse 17. It says, and if children, then heirs of the Most High, and joint heirs with Yahweh Shai. So the 12 apostles, right? Peter is going to be joint heir with Yahweh Shai, meaning he's going to inherit the same things in the kingdom of heaven that Yahweh Shai inherit. It says, and so be that we suffer with him, that we may also be glorified together, right? And Yahweh, Peter is going to be glorified with Yahweh Shai in the kingdom of heaven, right? Let's get another one. Yahweh Shai prayed for that as well, right? Let me bring this out. This John chapter 17 and verse 24, and it reads, Father, I will that they also whom thou hast given me, speaking about the 12 apostles, really, right? Speaking about the elect, but really in the context is really he's praying for the 12 apostles. It says, be with me where I am, that they may behold my glory, right? Which thou hast given me, for thou lovest me before the foundation of the world. O righteous Father, the world have not known thee, but I have known thee, and these have known that thou hast sent me, right? And I have declared unto them thy name, and will declare it, that the love wherewith thou hast loved me may be in them, and I in them, man. Right? So Yahweh Shai prayed that the Most High God will love, the same love that he had in him will be in the apostles, man. You understand? So you have to understand how powerful these men actually are in the spirit, right? So I wanted to let's go to Luke 21. And I'm going to close out with this. It's Luke 21 and verse 36, and it reads, watch ye therefore and pray always, that you may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass and to stand before the Son of Man, right? So I just wanted to leave brothers and sisters with that, man. Constantly watch and pray that you may be accounted worthy to escape all these things, all these evils that's going to come to pass in these last days, and to stand before the Son of Man, Yahweh Shai, man, right? And to see that salvation. That's something you should always be praying for, that you're able to endure into the end, that you're able to receive salvation, man. You understand? And continue to read, right? I just want to bring this out to the spirit. Right, I was just meditating on Peter. Right, I meditate on Peter a lot when I read throughout the Gospels. I always meditate on Peter, so I just wanted to finally put together some precepts and kind of bring this out through the spirit and the power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. right? So continue to read, continue to pray, continue to fast, continue to study, continue to love your brothers, love your sisters in this thing. You understand? Continue to do all that you could do to magnify the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, right? And constantly magnify the ministry. You understand? Right? In sincerity and in truth and in righteousness. You understand? And I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, right? And I want to give a mighty shalom to my mighty Akwaf Wa Akim, right? And shalom, Yasha Allah.